This is today's project. This is an adventure 6-speed folding bike. This is my neighbor's. He brought this one over along with his wife's, which needs a bit more work because he needed a new chain installed and tuning. So might need to put a couple new cables on it. I tested it before I put it in the stand and it seemed okay, but it's a pretty cool little bike. He uses it to go camping and probably back and forth between the campsite and other things, but it's got an older Shimano Tourney on it, still really clean. Freewheel's nice. So we'll put a new chain on it, we'll get it tuned up, and then in another video we'll work on his wife's, or his, I guess it doesn't really matter. But overall it's still in pretty decent shape. I actually serviced this for them a few years ago, and I always wonder about those YouTubers that work on bikes, if they ever work on ones that they had worked on previously. And now I get to do it. So I'm going to get the chain all set up and then we'll get it installed. All right, so I got the chain and my chain breaker. So essentially the way this works is you put the chain on and you get it marked to where you need it. And I'll, use a Sharpie here because it's going to get cut out anyways. And then you get yourself a chain breaker. This one I think was like, I don't know, $9, $10 on Amazon. It's pretty good. I'm trying to do this two-handed here. Let me pull this out. It comes with this little piece of metal. This will hold the chain together from either side, so you can get in there with your quick link and put it on, or in this case it actually has a rivet on the chain. You do not want to lose this little piece of metal. This is worth the $9 or $10 itself, just to have an extra hand handy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the chain unraveled here. And I want to find the side with the rivet. So this is the side that actually has the rivet on it. See it there? I'm going to want to put that towards me here on the front chain ring. There we go. Get it oriented. And then we're going to go around the largest cog in the rear. Caught on something here. There we go. So I'm going to go around the largest cog. And you want to make sure it's on it. Not that it's touching, but it's like actually seated, engaged with that. I'm going to spin it backwards here. And what you want to do is you want to pull it all taut. Again, make sure you're fully engaged. I can see I'm missing a tooth back here. There we go. There we go. Get your marker ready. And since the rivet here is on an outer link going into an inner link, I don't know if you can still see it, quite honestly. This is how it would marry up. You want that, but obviously we need to remove some extra links. And so what I do is I'm going to put the riveted piece up here and engage it. And it's kind of hard to see because of this guard. But what I want to do is I want to match up where that rivet's going to go into an inner link, which is right about here. And I'm going to count 2 links down, which is essentially to where the next inner link would be. I'm going to mark it. And then that's the piece I'm going to cut. And typically the chain falls. So, come back here. And it's on this side. I don't know if you can see it. But that one right there is what I'm going to cut. So I'm going to push that rivet out, re-thread it all, and then I'll show you linking it up. So I got the chain threaded all the way through the derailleur for the system. Now you can see my little wire there. It's holding it for me. And I'm going to take the outer with the rivet, and I'm going to fit it to the inner that we cut. And you might have to go in from an angle and push, because these outers tend to be, at least the ones I get, a little bent. And then there you go. So now it's on. It's engaged in that regard. And we're going to take our chain cutter, and what we're going to do is put it into the channel here. I want to make sure you're clear up here. and we're going to drive that rivet into the chain. So I'm going to try and again show you as we do this. I'm going to get it seated here in my chain tool. And I'm driving it in. And it starts nice and smooth. You're going to feel a little bit of pushback or pressure, I guess I should say, as it starts to engage the other side. You want to push through that. And then you'll feel it start to ease up again. And that's about where you're done. So I'm going to back it off, pull this out, and then I'm going to bend that link around a little bit just to help work it in. But that's it. So I'm going to back us up here. So you can see it's on. So now what we'll do is we'll go through the tuning of the shifting. All right, so I got to set up here real quick because I wanted to show something that's pretty important. You need to know this. Without any cable tension, so I've removed the cable from the derailleur. So obviously the shifter up front's not having any influence. The chain needs to be seated in the center of the highest gear on the back. So this is a setting. This is a boundary condition, if you will. So without any influence from the cable, the chain needs to be sitting here. So if it's not, that's where you update the high or low limiting screws. The high limiting screw in this case would be the one that drives the cage's movement left or right to correct where that chain is. And then similarly on the back, really more for it to not fall off and crash into your spokes would be your low limiting screw to just make sure it doesn't go too far. So that's what those two are for. So without any influence, again, this chain should be perfect right in the highest gear. And it is. It's not really making too much noise other than what I would expect out of this, this setup. So we're good. So what we're going to do now is we'll reattach the cable and we'll start going through the indexing of the gears. Let me zoom us out a little bit here. All right, so before we attach the cable, I wanted to show you the barrel adjuster. So that's this piece back here. This is what allows you to make minute adjustments to the cable tension once you've already attached it, but also to just fine tune your shifting over time as the cable stretches or other things happen. So I've turned it all the way in. And if I do this, I'm not going to be able to reduce the tension in the cable if I attach it. So you don't want to be too far out. You don't want to be too far in. So we're just going to try and split the difference here. I'm going to turn it out a few turns. And then I'm going to get the cable reattached. And you want to make sure you're in that highest gear up front, which we are. Just get this going here real quick. It would help if I was tightening. Trying not to block the camera is a bit of a pain, let me tell you. Okay, so I'm just going to get it snug and we'll torque it later. So I'm going to spin it up and one click should move us to the next gear. So I'm going to shift up and it kind of wants to go. And so we need to add tension by loosening the barrel adjuster. And you can see it's almost making the jump here. Almost there. There we go. We're going to do it again. We're going to go up one. Okay. I'm going to go up again. Next gear. Highest gear. While we're here, I'm going to safely stop it here. I'm going to push on the cage. The cage doesn't want to move anymore, so there's no danger of it falling back into the spokes. We have the spoke guard in either case, but if there was movement, this is where you would want to tighten your lower limit screw to make sure that the cage wouldn't want to go too far back and actually do that. So now we're going to go down and do the opposite. So we're going to go down. And it's wanting to drop, but it's still a little bit up. So now we're going to do the opposite. Just going to remove a little bit of tension. Let's go back up and do that again. So we'll go up, go down, go down, go down, and then we'll go all the way to the highest gear again, and then we'll traverse back up. And it's just minor changes again. Okay. And again, and again. So it's not the best shifting. Cable needs to probably settle again, even though this is the same cable. I would imagine part of the issue too is that this cable might have a little bit of friction in it. And we didn't replace it, but it is shifting decently for what this system is anyways. The freewheel, there we go. Let's work it in a little bit. The freewheel and this old tourney. So that's all done. I'll reattach the brakes and everything else, and then probably sometime later this week we'll do a full video on this one. It's going to need a lot more work. I've already ordered a new chain for it, and see if I can bring it down to see it. Camera's still on the stand, so it's a little tough here. Actually, let me just take it off real quick. There we go. Chain's a little rusted. It's a little beat up. I don't know if you left this one outside and the other one not, but yeah, pretty quick little morning project. And then, like I said, we'll do the next one in the next couple of days. So thanks for watching.